Hello everyone, this is your first lesson since returning from holiday break for Global Studies, and we're starting a new unit. This is Unit 8 called Tradition versus Modern. And for this lesson today, our objective, you should be able to see it on your screen, is what have been the effects of urbanization in the late 20th and 21st centuries. And we're going to go through this lesson and we're going to describe the effects of urbanization in these two centuries. You're going to have several questions in the Edpuzzle that you'll answer based on what we discussed in the lesson and what you see. We're going to be looking at two different graphs, a line graph, a bar graph, and a map. Alright, so our introduction. We are going to look at these two images and examine their changes and why. So the image on the left is labeled Manchester, England in 1820. The image on the right is Manchester, England in 1852. The images above show the effects of urbanization and industrialization in Manchester, England during the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s. We are looking at the same area in England, but 30 years apart. Use your skills of observation and tell me how the landscape has changed from the picture on the left to the picture on the right. You're going to do this in the Edpuzzle now. All right, now that you have written a well-organized, thought-out response to those two images having to do with the urbanization changes, let's move on. Since the end of World War II, people throughout the world have migrated from rural areas to cities at a steady and increasing rate. This process of moving to cities is known as urbanization. Most people move to cities for better employment opportunities and the hope of a better life. As a result of increased migration, some urban centers whose populations exceed 10 million people are now referred to as megacities. These areas are now faced with issues including transportation congestion, insufficient housing, and overstressed public services as a result of the increase in population and rise in population density. So these two graphs here, they're line graphs. The one on the left is titled Urban Population Percentage of Total. Your y-axis is labeled the same, Urban Population Percentage of Total, and your x-axis is labeled with year. So here we're looking at globally change over time. How has population changed from 1965 to 2015? So it's change over time looking at total population, percentage of total. The line graph on the right is population density, or people per square kilometer of land area. Population density is different, very different from total population. Population density is measuring the amount of people in a specific measurable area, like a square kilometer or a square mile. So here the dates are the same, 1965 to 2015. How has the population density changed in that time period? Very similar images on the graphs. All right, and we can, based on the citation down here, it's courtesy of the World Bank Group. That can also give us a clue that we're looking at global population change, not one specific area. Otherwise, it would be labeled with that specific area. All right, we're going to move on to this map. And this is 5 case studies in late 20th and 21st century urbanization. And those 5 cities that we're going to look at are Mexico City, Mexico, London in the United Kingdom, Dhaka in Bangladesh, Shanghai in China, and Tokyo in Japan. So what we're going to do with this map is we're going to read and analyze the charts and the map and answer questions 1 through 3 in the Ed puzzle. So first, we can see that this is a map of the world. The 5 cities that we were told about are here, labeled on the map: Mexico City, London, Dhaka, Shanghai, and Tokyo. Underneath each labeled city, you've got their total population as of the year 2014. Looking down at the citation, we can see that this was created in 2000 based on data in 2014. Also here we need to make sure that we read the whole citation. Each dot on the map above represents a city with a population of over 2 million people. Those cities that are identified will be discussed further in this lesson, which we won't necessarily do. The populations given for each of the selected cities, so our 5, is based on population in 2014. All right, so we can see that in 2014, Mexico City had a population of almost 21 million people. London, about 8.5 million people. Dhaka, almost 17 million people. Shanghai, almost 23 million people. And Tokyo, which is pretty incredible, almost 38 million people. Tokyo, remember, Japan is an island nation. There is a finite amount of land or area that can be taken, that can be lived in, because this is an island nation. So based on this, what kind of predictions can we make about population density? I'm going to have you answer in the Ed puzzle right now. Of these 5 cities, here's your question. What city do you think is going to have the highest population density? The highest population density. Not the greatest population or not the largest population. We're talking about density. Of the 5 cities, which city has the highest population density? All right, now we are also going to take a look at this chart, and we're going to use this chart and the map above that we just looked at to help us answer these 3 questions below, and you're going to answer those in the Ed puzzle. So this chart is titled Change in Population of Case Study Cities from 1990 to 2014. Here we've got our key. We can tell that the red bar is the year 1990. The red bar is, sorry, did I say the red bar for the blue? The blue bar is 1990. The red bar is 2014. Your y-axis is population. So starting at the bottom from 0 to 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. And then you've got a set of bars for each of the 5 cities that we're talking about: Tokyo, Shanghai, Mexico City, Dhaka, London. Okay? And the star here, population data for London, is from 1991 to 2015. So based on the map above, and I'll go back up, most of the world's largest cities are located on waterways. Why is that? So in the Ed puzzle, I'm going to have you answer, why are most of the world's major cities located on waterways? Explain that. All right, question 2. Based on the graph above, what generalization can you make about population in the case study cities from 1990 to 2014? So based on this graph, what generalization can you make? You're going to make a statement that encompasses basically a summary of what's going on in this entire graph. You're not picking out one specific city, just a generalization? Answer that in the Edpuzzle. And your final question, which of the case study cities grew the most from 1990 to 2014? So in order to answer this, you need to be able to calculate the difference between the top of the red bar and the top of the blue bar for each city. Which grew the most? And for your extra credit question for this lesson, answer this question by just shooting me an email or a Google Classroom message. Here's your question. What is one thing that you received for Christmas or for holiday celebration over break?